So this obviously is Roadkill, and it got splattered on it because the damage from the vehicle broke all the ribs and split out the back of the spine up here, and so before we ever got to it, there was gut mess all over on that. And our first job is to just take this top side right here, and the best we can, clean all the blood and junk off of it. And we've got a trash can right here to put the pieces in. And this stuff is kind of neat because you can come up under here and just start skinning it. Just kind of pull up on it and skin it away. Now right there where that piece of meat started to get pretty thick, I didn't want to lose that much meat, so I'm going to come back and go the other way with it. We are filming this show in front of a live audience. Got about a dozen chickens in that closet over there watching us. I'm just trying to take a nice thin slice off all of that. And if you like to keep, you can snag one of those knives and try your hand at it. This critter's pretty badly messed up, so you can't really. You're not gonna
can't screw it up.
Yeah.
So
now you look at this chunk of meat, and it actually looks like there's some edible meat there now, doesn't it? I mean, obviously you got this, but that right there looks like some nice rib meat. So. Grab that Sawzall, and we're going to follow a line right about like this, and then we're going to go about like that, and then we're going to come across here. Of course, we're going to lose a bunch of this meat out of the middle there, and then our last cut will be right up there. And what that does is, you can see they're kind of getting wider as they go, but it keeps them all fairly similar in width.
sure.
So. So there's the brisket. You kind of hold this over here. Don't get your finger injured. Yes, Joseph?
The cat's in the garage.
Hey, can you get him out of here? So now we're going to start on this hind quarter, and I've got all of this up here that I want to get rid of eventually, but for right now it's not in my way. But this end down here looks pretty ugly, and we're going to do pretty much like we did on the other one, and that's just take a layer off of everything until it looks nice and clean. Then we'll flip it over and do the same thing, and then I'm going to, once I get all of this end down here, I'll come back and take that joint apart. So I'll just kind of come in here and start cutting and see how deep I'm going to have to go to get to some nice clean meat in it. See, that's cleaning up real quick right there. So. Of course, this is in contrast to how you would do it if you shot this thing, because if you shot this thing, if you were real clean with how you handled it, you'd be just taking off this layer right here, and we really wouldn't be too worried about it. Just kind of just take a little paper thin slice off of there. roll that guy over. Except that if you would pull off a piece of that, I want to put it over there because where this was sitting is going to be ugly. And since I got this side clean, I want to keep this side clean. Actually, it doesn't look too bad, but we'll just do it anyway. Okay. Now again, starting out, it looks pretty ugly, but two ways of doing it. You can go in through this area or flip it over and go in through the other side. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go right here since that's where we are. The other one is right inside there.
Okay.
And that's the quicker way to the bone. But I end up splitting these right here along this joint anyway, so it doesn't really matter which one you start with. And this pretty heavy tendon there is attached directly to the bone, so kind of got to get through that. Now, I'm actually right there, and this knife is real flexible, so I just put it right up against that bone and let it cut the meat. It takes the meat right off that bone pretty nice. And at this point, we basically have everything from the upper thigh is loose. And then you take this right here and cut through there. Okay. And that shank will take off in a little bit, but for now, you know, it's only going to be burger anyway. This is where the roasts are. So now, this is where the fun part begins. You can look at this. We get one of our nice cutting boards over here. We decide where we're going to do a roast. And if you look here, you got a big chunk of meat here and a real thin flap right there. And actually, if we were to turn this over, that's right on that joint, or if we'd gone in on the other side, we'd have gone right here. So we can just kind of dress that down a little bit. And there. That's one big piece of meat. And the question is, how big a roast do you want? And Annie's preference is something in the neighborhood of 5 pounds is about as big as she ever wants to see for a roast. And I think that's, we'll just set it on there and we'll just see how much that weighs. So the total there is 5 pounds. So we could just call that a roast and wrap it. And maybe we'll do that. We'll just go ahead and set it over there on the right. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and set it back on here, and I am going to show you how I clean these guys up. So when you look at it, you got this little flap over here and a flap over there and so on like that. And this is where my big knife comes in handy. Just kind of square it up. And in this case, I'm going to come across here at an angle. And set that in my pile to make a burger out of. And that's where those two little things are. So then I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of